everyone, Darkarnival here. Today's video is a very special video. Today it's our very first official Q&A video. And the reason for that Q&A is because today we are celebrating my 10th year of cosplay. That's right, 2021 marks my 10th year as a cosplayer. Time really does pass fast and I'm feeling so old right now. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you may have seen one of my posts asking people for some questions for this Q&A video. And you guys submitted a lot of questions, way more than I ever thought I would get. I was mostly asking for questions related to my cosplay journey and my experience as a cosplayer. So we're gonna go ahead and answer all of them today. Thank you so much to all the people who submitted your question, and don't worry, if you still have some question to ask me, do not hesitate to comment them in the comment section below. And it's gonna be my pleasure to answer all of them as well. So I have some question in English and in French. So if I have to answer some question in French, I'm gonna simply put some subtitles right here. So this way everyone will be able to understand what I'm saying. So without further ado, let's start with the questions. So first question, what was your first cosplay? My first official cosplay I wore at a convention was the Mad Hatter from Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. It was actually my Halloween costume I had made for the year before, with some modified pieces of clothing and also some items found at the dollar store. Qu'est-ce qui t'a donné le goût de faire du cosplay? J'étais à la base passionnée de costumes et surtout les costumes de personnages de films. Je le dis souvent, j'étais une fanatique de l'Halloween puis je planifiais mes costumes année après année, parfois 1 an voire 2 ans d'avance. Mes amis m'ont fait découvrir le cosplay et les conventions, puis au départ, j'étais convaincue que c'était seulement pour des costumes inspirés de personnages de manga ou d'anime japonais. Et c'est lorsque j'ai découvert que c'était pas uniquement réservé à ces personnages-là, puis que j'ai découvert que c'était exactement ce que je faisais déjà avec mes costumes d'Halloween, que je me suis dit que ça me donnerait l'occasion de vivre encore plus de ma passion, et ce, plus d'une fois par année. Donc ça m'a donné le goût de pratiquer le cosplay parce que j'avais déjà cet amour-là de l'art du déguisement à la base et du déguisement inspiré des personnages de fiction. Donc j'étais déjà dans mon élément, si on peut dire. Donc cette petite poussée-là a juste contribué à l'explosion de ma passion que j'ai jusqu'à aujourd'hui. Qu'est-ce qui te motive à travailler sur tes cosplays? Ce qui me motive à travailler sur mes costumes, c'est premièrement mon amour pour les personnages que j'incarne, mon amour pour les designs des costumes et mon amour du détail. Et aussi, bien sûr, l'image que j'ai du produit fini. C'est vraiment ce qui me motive à continuer quand je peux imaginer ce à quoi le costume va ressembler en bout de ligne. Et ça me motive vraiment à continuer parce que j'ai vraiment envie de voir ce résultat final-là qui m'excite au plus haut point généralement. Mais si j'avais à résumer ça en un seul mot, ce serait l'amour. L'amour, tout simplement, que ce soit l'amour du personnage, l'amour du costume, l'amour de la confection, l'amour des détails, l'amour des designs, l'amour all the way. Is there something you just had to learn through trial and error? I had to learn so much things through trial and error. Most of my sewing skills I had to learn that way. My mom basically taught me the basis of the sewing, but the rest I had to learn pretty much myself. Some other things would be wig styling and also patterning. I mostly make all of my pattern myself, so I really had to learn that through trial and error because I do not have a formation in sewing at all. So besides the basis, I pretty much had to learn everything by myself. What are your proudest cosplay achievements or accomplishments? Without a doubt, it was my participation to the World Cosplay Summit 2016 as part of Team Canada. We were part of the first ever competing Canadian team, and by far it was the happiest moment of my cosplay journey. Even today, I still have tears in my eyes every time I think about this moment when we won, basically in 2015, to represent Canada in 2016. What is it like competing at an international level versus when just starting out? So first of all, I would say the level of the cosplayer drastically improved with years. When I started, there was barely some master cosplayers in my city, and now, not only there is a lot more, but today people are so skilled no matter their level, or no matter if they compete or not. Let's face it, the technology and resources has evolved a lot with years, so the quality of homemade costume has improved so much. Now we have access to some good quality wigs, some good quality makeup, good quality contact lenses for some of us, good quality fabrics, great material like EVA foam, thermoplastic, 3D printing for some of us as well. So when I started competing, the resources for cosplayer were pretty basic. And now, because of the huge evolution of the technology and resources, competing is way more intense. But now, personally, I would say that I do it way more for fun and for the joy of trying some new and enriching experiences. Of course, I still do it to challenge myself, but today, my own satisfaction and approval is what matters most to me, way more than the approval of others or of the judges, etc. If 1,000 people tell me that my costume is awesome and that it looks really nice and really well made, etc., if I am not satisfied, I would not be happy no matter how much good comment I get. At the beginning, I really minded a lot about winning some awards, but I would say that since 2015, when we won the World Cosplay Summit Canada, my motivation made a big switch. I keep reminding myself that I'm lucky to be able to do what I do and to be able to fully do what I love. That big titles and big awards are more like a bonus, more than a priority. The cosplay you relate the most to the character and why. The character I relate the most among my cosplays would be Princess Tutu. Just like her, I'm kind of a magical girl myself because, let's face it, cosplay. On a daily basis, I'm quite awkward and clumsy sometimes, but everything I do it for passion and for love of whatever I'm doing. Everything she does it for the sake of love and for the sake of good. She is very romantic but not very lucky in love, which I can relate also. What are your plans for the near future? Convention, new cosplays, etc. Convention are still coming back slowly but surely, but I'm not really planning to go to some new conventions yet. I think I'm gonna stick with the convention that I already know if they come back eventually. I still would like to go back to Katsucon next year, hopefully, if I can. But besides that, I'm still gonna stick with the most Canadian team for now because I want to play it safe and not run after trouble or anything. New cosplays, I have a lot of new cosplays coming up. Maybe about 2 new cosplays by the end of the year, and next year it's gonna be wild. During the pandemic, I kid you not, I think I have gathered fabrics for at least 5 or 6 different costumes. But I'm not gonna reveal all of them because those are still some exclusive contents to my Patreon, which you can subscribe today if you want. But I now can say that my very next costume after the commission that I'm doing is gonna be Namari from Raya and the Last Dragon movie. I already have all the reference, all the fabrics, all the material. I'm now just waiting for my wig, which should arrive pretty soon. I'm so excited. And of course, I'm still gonna be working on expanding my business to potentially become a full-time cosplayer one day. So I have a lot of projects coming up for YouTube, for Twitch, for Patreon. It's gonna be a long journey, but I'm not giving up on my dream, and you should not either. What are the things you look for when working with a cosplay photographer? It really depends on a lot of things. I would say, first of all, the cost of a photo shoot, of course. The professionalism of the photographer is very important to me because I do not want the photo shoot to be really awkward or really off. I really want this experience to be as fun as it could be and as pleasant as it could be. Also, when it comes to choose a photographer for a specific costume, I really think that it depends on the costume. If I want a photo shoot for a costume, like for example, that is very magical or very sci-fi, I might be looking for a photographer that is capable of doing some composite, like some special effect, etc., After Effects on the photos. And if I'm doing a more casual or more, I would say, formal type of costume, more neutral type of costume, I would say I would probably go with any photographer, either if they can do a composite or not. And I also always look at the portfolio of photographers before choosing which photographer I would like for certain costume or certain photo shoot, type of photo shoot, because it gives me a lot of example of what the photographer can or can't do. So I mostly know what to expect by working with them. And I'm not gonna lie, when I've already worked with certain photographer and that I like them, I'm mostly gonna work with them again in the future, especially if I had a very great experience with them. It's really not rare that I'm gonna be working with them again. What 3 cosplays would you shoot with me? And this question was sent by Cyberfox Photography, so shout out to him right here. 3 cosplays that I would shoot with Cyberfox Photography. I would say, first of all, probably Namari, my upcoming costume. Probably my Rena Rouge costumes, which I'm going to be remaking almost entirely in the next months. And probably, I would say, my Alia cosplay from Miraculous Ladybug. Name a fun fact that happens every time you sew or craft. That is gonna be quite an unusual answer. I mean, it's not an unusual thing to happen, but it's gonna be a really unusual answer. Most of the time, I end up injuring myself during the sewing process or the crafting process, to the point where I accidentally bleed, and some of my blood always end up on my costumes. Don't worry, it's never visible, but if at some point you need a little bit of my DNA to make a clone of myself, then you know where to look. It's a real struggle, especially when I'm working with some white fabrics. What's the part you hate the most to make? It is sad to say, but I would say that the part that I hate the most to make on a costume is the wig styling, mostly because I don't think I'm really good at it. So every time I have to style a wig, I always struggle a lot because I'm so scared I'm gonna mess up something and it's gonna be like horrible. It's not really a fun part to me. But hey, I'm keep trying. Maybe one day I'm gonna be good at it and it's not gonna be that much of a struggle anymore. I also struggle making gloves, but that's a completely different story. Name a part of a costume that was really hard to make. Part of a costume that was really hard to make? I would say hand sewing every single feathers on my freaking Tooth Fairy costume. That was such a freaking painful process. It was so long, and at the time I did not know what I was doing. Plus, I gave myself only 3 months to sew all those freaking pieces, and I would never do that again. If I had to do it again, I would give me way much more time to make that. My deadline for that costume was so severe and I almost got sick because of it. I had literally no more life while making this costume. That's why I would say that was the hardest part of a costume to make. What's a struggle you overcome while being in the cosplay community? My biggest struggle would be self-confidence and also my incapacity to not compare myself to others, which I know is a big problem. I'm still working on it. I always try to make things so I would be satisfied with what I'm making, but it's kind of hard to not compare yourself to others, especially in the cosplay community where everyone is so talented, everyone is advertising their stuffs on social media, so it's really difficult not to see anything and not to compare what you do with what others do. But you have to remind yourself that if you are happy with what you're doing and the result of what you're making, that's all that matters. Yes, you can still improve yourself if you want, but it should not be your main goal to surpass others. Remind yourself that you have to be the best version of yourself and forget about others. You can get inspired by others, but do not let what others do make you think less about your work. How are you so amazing? Well, I'm so glad you asked that question because that's been on my mind for such a long time and I could not wait to confess to someone. So I'm gonna be revealing my secret right here, right now. So I hope you're ready. So 10 years ago, I made a contract with a demon that had the shape of a black swan. And basically, in exchange for some of my blood, some sweat, tears, and I would say half of my common sense, he granted me with the talent I have today. Oh, and I will also have to give him my soul once I will become the most famous cosplayer in the world, so that will never happen, so I didn't mind promising that. So don't worry, it should be fine. Right? Right? And final questions. Who is one cosplayer you would love to meet in real life? As weird as it is, I would say I have already met pretty much of my cosplay idols. I have met Reika when I was in Japan for the World Cosplay Summit. I have met Nikita Cosplay, which is one of my biggest inspiration when it comes to cosplay making. I have met Twin Cosplay, which are freaking adorable. I love them so much. They were the great champion of the World Cosplay Summit 2015 and were representing Mexico. I have met J Heart Design, I have met Yayahan, I have met Kamui Cosplay locally. I have to say I would love to meet Nikita Cosplay again because the first time I met her, it was for the judging of the World Cosplay Summit 2015 in Canada at Otakuton. But I really would like to meet her again to be able to basically tell her how much she inspired me in my cosplay journey and how much she still inspires me today. Huge congratulations to her and her husband for the birth of her little baby boy. I was literally in tears when I've heard the news that she was pregnant when she posted that little video of her cosplaying as Ariel with her little baby bump. I was literally crying of joy. But among the cosplayers that I have recently discovered, I would say I would be so thrilled to meet Amino Kitaru and K Cosplay, the Grand Champion of World Cosplay Summit 2019, representing Team Australia. I have already said numerous times how much I admire those two, so I would be so thrilled to be able to meet them one day. So there you go, guys. That was all the questions that you had for me today. Again, if you have more questions to ask me about me and my cosplay journey, do not hesitate to comment them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video and for celebrating with me my 10th year of cosplay. So many years, so many memories, so many friends I've made along the years. I could not be more grateful for all those years that I've spent in that community. Cheers to that, and cheers to so many more years to come. Again, if you want to see more of me and my cosplay related content, do not forget to follow me on all social media. Have a great day, guys, and until next time, dream, believe, and keep on cosplaying. See you guys!